Birdland, after nearly a week off, thanks to being the number one seed in the American League playoffs, the Baltimore Orioles are ready to begin their quest for their first World Series championship since 1983. And you guys know I got to preview the ALDS as they take on the Texas Rangers, who defeated the Tampa Bay Rays in the wild card round. It's time for that preview. Predictions, keys to the series, and injury report here on the Flex Zone podcast. Go ahead, swing for the fence and subscribe. Go ahead, hit the ball out the ballpark and hit that like button. And go ahead and make sure you bunt that bell for all notifications for everything Orioles here on this channel. Orioles, Rangers, preview coming to you right now here on the Flex Zone podcast. Birdland, what's going on? God's favorite host here, back again for another Orioles video on the channel. We're in the postseason, ladies and gentlemen. All the hard work, dedication by us, the fans, sticking with this team, and the players, coaches, managers, front office, ownership, performing on the field has led this team from what was an organization with over 100 losses just 2 years ago to a team with over 100 wins and one of the best records in all of baseball and a legit shot to win the World Series. We learned yesterday after the Texas Rangers defeated and ousted the Tampa Bay Rays in 2 games out of their 3-game wildcard series, scoring 11 runs in 2 games. The Texas Rangers will be the team that is headed to Baltimore. There was a debate, there was a question all week when we found out the playoff matchups that the Orioles would have to play either the Rays or the Rangers. I personally didn't have a preference because yeah, Tampa's the devil, you do know. But those series, the 4-game series here, the 4-game series down there at the Trop, was tough. It was tough all the way through. No easy games. Both teams played very hard. They know each other well. I mean, there was probably a game or two here and there where the Orioles did win by a large margin, and a game or two here or there where the Rays did win by a large margin. But most of their games were 1, 2 runs, and really came down to the 8th and ninth inning of who could hold on to the lead, usually with the backing of their bullpen. The Rangers and the Orioles only played 6 times this season, and they were kind of more of the devil you don't know. Split 3-3, played Texas early in the season. I believe it was their second series after opening up with the Yankees at home. They played Texas 3 games down there and then 3 games up here. They split, as I mentioned, 3-3. But Texas is a team, as I mentioned, they scored 11 runs. They started off the season red hot. They were number one in the American League, leading the AL West. Kind of hit a lull after the All-Star break and kind of faded back down to earth, and were, with about a month left in the season, on the verge of possibly not even being in the playoffs. They played better. They made some moves at the trade deadline. Obviously, they did lose Max Scherzer, which would make me a little more nervous in this series if he was healthy and pitching to go along with their starters of Montgomery, and they have some guys, Eovaldi, who was an all-star, but they don't have Scherzer. But as I mentioned, they scored 11 runs in 2 games. They can hit with the best of them. They can score a lot of runs. They can utilize the long ball, and they're never really out of a game. Um, Garcia was in the home run derby, one of the league leaders in home runs, hit 39. Corey Seager. They got a lot of good players that can really. Their left field wall is going to be very, very important in this series for the Orioles. But Texas is the team we're playing. And I do think that the Orioles, in my opinion, were the team that were going to be able to, I think, win the series of whoever it was going to be. Whether it was the Texas Rangers, whether it was the Tampa Bay Rays. We even saw Toronto get beat yet again. And the hype behind the Toronto Blue Jays, that could be a whole nother video. A team that's picked year in and year out over the past 2-3 seasons to be the best in the American League, go to win the World Series. They can't even get out the wild card round. Last year, they blew it to the Mariners. This year, their offense didn't even travel to Minnesota as their pitching shut them down as they are out and headed back north of the border. So the Orioles, the lone team left in the American League East, and for obvious reasons, we know why they won the division. As I mentioned, when you look at the injury report, both teams come into this series missing key pieces. With the Rangers, they are missing Max Scherzer. Mad Max is one of the best pitchers in baseball and does his best work in October. With the Orioles, though, we know we don't have Felix Bautista. He's going to be out the rest of this season and all of next season. He did get that 2-year deal through 2025. Tommy John surgery. Man, I wish we had Bautista. That would really make me feel a lot more at ease heading into the 8th and ninth innings with postseason implications on the line. But I think the key for the Orioles is going to be how the back end of the bullpen holds up in the playoffs. Cano. I think Tyler Wells is going to get a lot of looks at closer. DL Hall, I think, will be brought in high pressure situations. CNL Perez, Danny Coulomb, Everyday Jake, Jacob Webb. These guys are going to be very, very important to the success of this team because if the Orioles are able to get leads, it's going to be about sustaining those leads. We know Ryan Mountcastle dealt with some shoulder inflammation. He looks like he's good to go. Him and O'Hearn will man first base. They have been godsends, especially O'Hearn with his ability to play not only first base, but in the outfield as well. This series is going to be tight, guys. It's not going to be easy. October baseball never is. A lot of these games are going to be 1-2 run ball games. Some games, it may be the first team to 2 or 3 runs is going to win. And it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. Take your alcoholic beverages, your adult beverages, your blood pressure medicine, whatever you need to do to stay motivated and stay engaged and stay at ease for these games because it is going to be a wild ride in the ALDS. But let's look at the keys to game one because, as you guys know, I will be live for the post show after each game, breaking it all down. So, game one, I want to start with game one. The Orioles have to start fast. They've had a week off. They've had some workouts. They've had some workouts in front of the fans. They have to start fast. I think it'll be very imperative for game one for the Orioles to utilize the crowd, utilize the energy that'll be at Camden Yards in the city of Baltimore, and really go out there and in the first 2-3 innings, get a couple of runs, get Kyle Bradish a lead, get Kyle Bradish some run support. Maybe if they could be up 2-0 after 3 innings or up 3-0 after 4 innings, it would be very, very imperative and it would help alleviate some of the pressure for some of these young players who have never played in the playoffs. But I think Brandon Hyde has done a great job all season keeping his team loose, free, and I think they're a very motivated, hungry bunch to show that the big stage doesn't frighten them. These guys have been winners at every level. A lot of these guys on this team, the Adleys, the Gunners, the Westbergs, they've been winners at every level, and they're ready to continue that at the major league level. While it won't be easy, these guys do have winning pedigree. Score early and often. As I mentioned, you can't go into the 5th, 6th inning against a team like Texas scraping for runs. You got to set the tempo. You have to be proactive instead of reactive. You have to put the pressure on them to continue their hot offensive start. And the way I look at it, they scored 11 runs in 2 games. They're due for maybe a 2-3 game stretch where they don't score a lot of runs. And that would be right on time for the Orioles to take advantage and win a couple of games in this series. Hit with runners in scoring position. The Orioles were the best team in the league at hitting with runners in scoring position. Although that number did dip a little bit in September, I do think, thankfully, they picked the times during the end of the season where they kind of had things locked up to have a little lull offensively where they weren't scoring a lot of runs. But I do think this team is made up of the right pieces. They've got guys on the field, guys that can come off the bench, guys that can platoon, that can also hit the ball in key situations. That also goes into my next key. Be aggressive on the base paths. As I mentioned, you got Mateo. You have guys that you can bring in who have speed, guys that can come in and play crucial defensive possessions, as I like to say, in certain innings. Utilize these guys. You have to be aggressive on the base paths. Utilize it. Manufacture runs. Play small ball. Sacrifice bunts. Sacrifice flies. Get those runners in. Keep the ball in the ballpark. That's my next one. We know Texas is one of the best teams hitting home runs in the majors. Seager, Garcia, so many good players. Heim, who was an all-star. they can hit the ball out of the ballpark. We have to keep the ball in the ballpark. If Bradish can keep guys off the base paths, which goes on my next key with walks, if you're going to give up the home run, which you might, like Jim Palmer always says, make them solo home runs. Make them worth 1 run instead of 2, 3, 4 runs. Utilize that. Be patient. Don't give up a lot of walks. It'll be very, very important that the Orioles get off to a fast start. It'll be very, very imperative that they hit with runners in scoring position. And it is very, very imperative that they utilize the back end of their bullpen to the best of their ability. While guys do have to face a minimum of 3 batters, matchups are going to be very, very important. If you guys haven't seen, the schedule has been released for the ALDS and the games, and I'm going to put that up for you real quick and just go over that. As you can see, we have Game 1 is Saturday, 1 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Game 2, busy day for Ravens and Orioles baseball. Sunday, 4 o'clock. That is October 8th. So you have Ravens Steelers at 1, Orioles Rangers game 2 at 4. Then game 3 from Arlington at Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Game 4 would be Wednesday, October 11th. This is necessary, if necessary, guys. And game 5 will be October 13th, back at Camden Yards on Friday night. Those are to be determined with times, but we do have the dates. Now, this is a best of 5 series, which means the first team to 3 wins wins the series and advances to the ALCS, the championship round, which is 1 round away from the World Series. So Saturday afternoon, we got Maryland, Ohio State. We have Orioles, Rangers. Sunday, Ravens, Steelers. Ravens, hopefully getting a win there. Then we can have the Orioles win game 2, Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock. And then Tuesday, they go on the road to Texas. Tuesday, 8 o'clock. I'm assuming the Wednesday game would be an 8 o'clock affair as well if it goes to game 4. And game 5 on that Friday probably would be, I'm thinking, an evening game as well. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now, as I mentioned, the preview, my prediction, I got to give you guys my outlook on the series. Obviously, like I mentioned, I'll be live after every game with the Baltimore Orioles post-game show, breaking down the game, highs, lows, standout performances, and what went right and what may not go so right. Orioles, I'm going with the Orioles. I'm going down with the ship. I'm going with the Orioles magic. I'm drinking the orange Kool-Aid. Give me the Orioles in 5. I'm going with the Baltimore Orioles to defeat the Texas Rangers, move on to the ALCS in 5 games. I do think it goes the distance. I do think we get that game 5 on the 13th here at Camden Yards, which I hopefully will be able to attend. Let me know in the comments if you guys are going to any games. I know the ticket prices are not cheap, but make sure you guys let me know about that. We'll be live, as I mentioned, after each game for the Baltimore Orioles post-game show, as it is an exciting time. Not only Purple Friday coming up tomorrow, we got Orange Friday because Saturday is going to be electric down at the Yard. October Festivus, we're calling it. We call it Festivus when the Ravens make the playoffs because we don't say playoffs. We got October Festivus, the Orioles. Let's go O's, man. I'm excited. You should be too. I got on my gear. It'll be a fun time. Orioles Rangers game 1 on Saturday afternoon, game 2 Sunday evening, early evening, and game 3 on Tuesday. As I mentioned, I'll be live after each game for the Baltimore Orioles post-game show. Hit the bell to be notified when I'm live. Sound off in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the series, predictions, preview. What needs to happen in game 1? What do you have happening? What is your prediction? And as always, subscribe if you're new. We do a lot of Orioles content. We do Ravens content as well. Ravens Steelers play Sunday at 1. Immediately following that game, as it will be intertwining with the start of the Rangers and Orioles game 2, we will have the Ravens post-game show. So if you're into that type of stuff, if you're a Ravens fan, check out our Ravens content. We had Ravens YouTuber and Graven on the podcast this past Monday. We have Ravens Steelers post-game show Sunday afternoon, immediately following that game. Probably right as first pitch is getting ready to start for the Orioles. So we'll give you that post-game show, and we'll give you double duty, the Orioles Rangers game 2 post-game show. And Saturday afternoon after game 1, I'll be live, and so on and so forth. But it starts Saturday, 1 o'clock. If you're going to the game, have fun. If you're watching the game, tap in with us here on the Flex Zone, and be sure to hit that bell, hit the like button, and subscribe for all content, and stay tuned As I mentioned, I'll be live breaking down each game for you until this season is over, which ultimately, hopefully, ends with the Orioles hoisting the World Series championship trophy for the first time in 40 years. Let's do it for Brooks. Let's do it for Kyle. Let's do it for all the Baltimore greats, past and present. And most importantly, us, the fans in Oriole Nation, Birdland. God's favorite host signing off. I'll see you Saturday for the official Baltimore Orioles post-game show, and Sunday after game one on Saturday, game 2 on Sunday, and Ravens Steelers post-game show as well coming up this weekend after their game on Sunday. And look for the channel. We'll have a preview for the Ravens Steelers game coming up to you tomorrow as well. Have a great day, everybody. Let's go O's. You got to soak it in, Birdland. It's an amazing time. October. Can't spell October without O. Let's ride. Let's do it for Brooks. Let's bring back that Oriole magic and get that championship that we desire. It all starts on Saturday. Best out of 5. First team to 3. Orioles Rangers. We'll be talking about it here on the Flex Zone Podcast. Only place giving you sports how you want it, when you need it. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.